Welcome everyone to University Point. This was one of the largest settlements in the Commonwealth until the Institute wiped it off the face of the earth. I'll be showing you everything that you can find in here, as well as learning the story that led up to that moment. So we stand at the gates. There's a little railroad sign off here, but you actually want to veer off to the left here. Something I didn't know about was this little stash. Some ammo, dirty water. Gotta love railroad dead drops. It's always nice when you find it. So, once you head into the main entrance here, traders welcome. This probably would have been where security would have sat, you know, to see who was coming in and out of the settlement itself. It was built in the ruins of an old gymnasium, where it seems the basketball court is still pretty much intact. Brahmin traders and caravans would have held up here and just relaxed, sold their goods to the bustling citizens. There's a generator and lots of workbenches here. The only part of this entire place that I don't understand is why it isn't a settlement. That's the strange part. So in the center, we have a couple of cobbled up buildings and lots of razor grain. If you're looking razor grain for your own settlement, University Point is the place to be. The place looks very large and can be a little daunting, but don't worry, there's only 3 major buildings. Well, technically 2 and a third one. This is the University Credit Union to the right, which we'll be looking at. Sedgwick Hall is at the back, and half of it's kind of sinking into the sea. And then we've got the third one, which is this collection of shops. So, let's begin. When you first come in, there will be a couple of synths that will show up. Deacon will also make a few unique comments. And this place actually used to be called Mass State. That was the name, even though University Point is the location on the map. They probably went under a couple of names. One of the largest settlements in the Commonwealth at its time. So, what happened to them? Why did the Institute wipe them out? Why is their Institute coursers still wandering about? Big questions we'll be answering. So the first shop here has an armor workbench, and more uniquely, a Vault-Tec security helmet. You don't find many of these out and about, except obviously within vaults. So not a bad wee pickup. Now if we move on to our next shop, this was the weapons depot. There's a weapons workbench if you need to tinker. Ammo hidden everywhere. There was even a wee firing range. This would have been quite the place to live. Compared to the rest of the Commonwealth, it seemed to be doing quite well. There was also a wee cooking station there in the kitchen. Now we move on up to the bedroom area for the owner. Fought till the last person, the synths, swarmed this place. Coursers, I would say, they just did not stand a chance. This is the chem shop. Wee chemistry station for you to use. We're dropping down into the shop area. We can get our first holotape. Sylvia's holotape, to be exact. Let's have a little listen as we wander our way about. Find out what actually happened
Sylvia,
here.
I don't care what Bert says. People have a right to know what kind of danger they're in. Look, the youngsters may think the Institute is just a ghost story, but I know you're old enough to remember the attacks. I know you feel for the girl, but she brought the trouble down on us. She and her father need to answer for it. If we give the Institute what they want, or just give them the girl even, maybe they'll leave us alone.
So, there was a girl involved in the downfall of University Point. We find out a lot more about her, Jacqueline, later on.
Got it.
Unlocking this door brings you out to the back here. The ruins of an old parking lot. Now, I have a little theory that a tunnel ran into the bottom of this, and that'll become more clear later on, once we get the prototype laser rifle. You will love it. It is one of the best weapons in the game, and it's pretty awesome. I think it's the AER-14 prototype, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. This is an alternative entrance also into the university. There's also another one down there, and you can swim in the back of Sedgwick Hall. We'll be looking more at that later. The credit union requires a terminal be unlocked. It's a novice terminal. We'll get the password for it anyway, but if you want to just open it up, you can. But my recommendation is following the exact path that we're going to use in completing this place. As we're going through the story, and it builds up to eventually getting into a little secret room in the credit union. So this is Mayor Bert Strickland's terminal and the town council logs. Let's have a little read. 2285. Special session brought to order. Mayor addresses the town regarding visitor. Visitor claims to be an agent of the Institute. Claims the settlement is in possession of valuable pre-war tech. Heard that it was found by a girl, Jacqueline Spencer. Floor open for discussion. Gladys Maxwell asks, how can we be sure this isn't a trick? Pete Owens suggests that Jacqueline be given up to spare the town. Gerald Spencer threatens Pete. Minor fight breaks out, quickly quelled. Mayor regains order, and the issue is brought to a vote tomorrow night. Meeting adjourned. We also got Gerald's vault password there. That allows you to get into the credit union. Meeting brought to order. Council votes on crop export limits. Export limits capped at 20%. Cody Cole found playing in credit union vault. Council votes to forego punishment at this time. And votes to change the vault password. New password, Marler Cakes. Meeting adjourned. And then this one. Meeting brought to order. Discusses finding for additional generator funding. Approved system error. There's also the university mail relay. Now this will really get into it. So this one came from M. Lawson, giving up our kids. Mayor Strickland, Betty said that Martha told her you've been having secret meetings with agents from the Institute and agreed to give them our children. Then Will told me he heard the Institute have a nuke planted somewhere and they're going to detonate it if we don't give them the whole harvest. What is going on? Obviously there was a wee bit of fog of war craziness going on as they didn't know how to deal with the Institute. And the pre-war tech is the AER-14 prototype. We'll find out more as we go along. C. Cole, sorry about Martha. Mayor Strickland, I asked Martha to wait and see what you and the council figure out rather than going on rumours, but well, you know how she is. I'm sure you've got an earful, I know I have. Look, it's not my place to say, but I think you'd better try and get ahead of this. Martha and Perry are spreading rumours pretty fast, so you probably better call a meeting soon. The Institute? Mayor Strickland, what is this I've been hearing about the Institute is going to attack if we don't give them Jacqueline? I understand your children are grown and moved away, but I have children here. How dare you keep information like this from us? We have a right to know about threats to our safety. Martha. This is from G. Spencer. Bert, I wish you had come to me about this first. My daughter is a smart girl and you know that. Heck, she's the one who figured out how to wire into the old university mail relay in the first place. What proof do you have this guy was from the Institute anyway? If she told some trader she had valuable data, that guy might be working with your visitor. This is probably just a con, but now we've got Perry involved and he is going to be out for blood. Gerald, so obviously he's the father of Jacqueline. P. Owens, the girl has to go. God damn it, Bert, I can't believe you're hiding this council charter at a time like this. That damn Spencer girl is the one who brought the Institute down on us, and if we can't give them what they want, they will wipe us off the map. These kids may not believe in them, but I know your sister was killed by synths. If she doesn't give them over the data they want, I say give them to her, or give her to them. They can take it out on her instead of ours. There's a wee tape with a council meeting that we can have a quick play of.
As head of the town council, I call this meeting to order. In attendance this evening, we have Perry
I believe this is the mayor,
Gerald Spencer,
or what's left of him.
Sylvia Cooper, and myself, Bert Strickland, as acting council head.
Bert, what is all this about? I've got wheat that needs bringing in.
Yesterday, I received a very disturbing visitor. I managed to record part of the conversation. It's probably best if you all hear it. I don't see anything about that in my records. What was it you said you wanted again? Don't toy with me. We know a girl here found some pre-war data.
Oh, it's Kellogg!
Research
Was the guy.
give it to us. I really have no idea what data you think we have. We're just farmers and fishers. I'd be happy to ask around for you. Please, just lower the gun. Look, I'm a reasonable man, but the Institute wants that data. You got 2 days to get it for
Jacqueline.
What has your daughter done, Gerald?
She's been saying that she was close to finding something in those old terminals she fixes up. But I don't think she actually found anything.
Bullshit. Now, I overheard her talking to that trader last week. Something about getting 10 times the price for something if she sold it in Diamond City.
Look, just let me talk to her. See if she actually has this data or not.
Pete, sit down. We all need to remain calm about this. I need you all to keep this to yourselves for now. The last thing we need is to start a panic.
Okay, so let's go into Sedgwick Hall and see what we can find here. That obviously was the meeting in which they found out what was going on. It was Kellogg that was sent to investigate. Student records. Now, the reason you want to access this is you go into enrolled graduates and you can click through all of them. Eventually, one will pop up with something that we need. In the archives, maybe? Okay, so we click through that. I don't think... It'll be more clear later on what we just did there. Okay, let's proceed. So, this place is divided into two, split straight down the middle. There is a security gate that you can open if you have the ability to open an expert lock. Or, alternatively, we can get the password of Gerald's terminal. I'll set off an explosive, and this place is also crawling with synths. Once you walk up here, a few of them will just start appearing. They just spawn in, and you'll have to deal with them. Unless you're friendly with the Institute, to which this place is just a cakewalk. So, go into the tools section, and you will find a little cash register, Gerald's terminal, and his barricade key. Presumably, this is the body of Gerald himself. So, let's have a look at his little terminal here. As a little side note, you're to go to the student records after we access the thing, or the terminal later on. So, yeah, I did that in the wrong about way, but, you know, it happens. I don't know what to do, says the user log. Josephine, I don't know what to do. Our daughters found something in the ruins, some sort of data. A man came to town and said he was from the Institute. He threatened the mayor and the town is in uproar. I don't know if this guy's for real or not, but he seems dangerous and the rumours around the town are almost worse. Someone accused Jacqueline of being a synth. She's a grown up with her whole life, and now they want to give her to this man or throw her out of town, or worse. She actually did it. You'd be so proud, Jacques. That's what she likes to go by now. Well, she found your old notes about the mail relay and begged me for weeks to take her into the flooded area when I went to hunt Lurk so she could try and find the part she needed. Well, she must have found what you had been looking for, because she actually got this mail relay working. We can send each other letters across town. Not sure why we wouldn't just walk over and talk, but it's certainly more than I've been doing, or certainly more than I was doing at 14. Josephine, it's been 3 years since you died, and I think about you every single day. I wish you could see how much Jacqueline has grown. Last week she had her 6th birthday, and I gave her your old toolbox like you'd always planned. The day I found out that she had disassembled half the stuff in the store. She looks so much like you now. I miss you so much. The mail relay. Okay, this was going to the mayor. Gerald, I'm not saying this is the mayor, but as your friend. I don't know if the visitor is from the Institute or not, but I know what a dangerous man looks like, and I don't want to call this bluff. Our people are scared and looking for someone to blame. It does seem like Jacqueline was the seed of this mess, so keep her out of sight till we get it sorted. If your daughter does have the data, we should have it ready to turn over if need be. What has your daughter done? Gerald, how many times have I told you that daughter would be the end of you? I've told you 1,000 times, no good has ever come from messing with pre-war gobbledygook. If she were my daughter, I would have beaten some sense into her years ago. Mum was glad Josephine isn't alive to see what a wreck your family has become. Shame on you, Gerald Spencer. If my boys come to harm from this, I will beat you to death myself. Martha. She sounds like the typical Karen, doesn't she? Get out while you can. Gerald, you know I love Jacqueline like she was my own granddaughter. It breaks my heart to say this, but I think the two of you should leave town. Just run for it. Leave the Commonwealth. You're still young enough to start over, and Jack is as smart as can be. I still hear more than people think, and I'm not hearing anything good. Even if this visitor is an imposter, I fear our own neighbours may turn on you first. So things were not looking well for Gerald. That was the least of his worries. He probably just died here when the synths moved in and mowed the place down. His workshop, and obviously Jacqueline would have worked here too, is full of just random junk. Pick up what you can before moving on up the stairs and into the right. This is where we're gonna get a wee magazine. A little collectible.
Excellent.
Geckos and gamma radiation, the key to a prolonged life. Energy weapons, 5% extra critical damage permanently. Nice. Good, I'll find military grade circuit board. There's lots of good junk lying about here. If you've got a keen eye and you're just up for being a bit of a look goblin, join the crew. This exit takes you back out to an overlook of the town, and there'll be a synth there. You'll probably have to kill the synth long before that, but yeah.
On the other side.
Now, the key opens that one and the one on the bottom floor. So let's open this door first. It's just a minor find. Inside here, got some junk, little globe, skeleton lion over here, and some vodka and bourbon. So, hop down to the middle level, and you can use the key just to get straight in. However, an alternative entrance is using Jacqueline's terminal here. We can read her journal. Mom's birthday. Mom's birthday was yesterday. That's obviously Josephine. Dad and I left flowers on her grave. He was telling me stories about her, and I kind of mentioned that I don't really remember what she looked like anymore. He said it was okay, but I can hear him sobbing in his room. I can't take this right now. I'm going to go scavenging in the flooded area. Still haven't replaced my secondary hard disk after it blew last week. Maybe I can find a new one. Sylvia also said that her network port has been acting up. Sylvia seems to be the farmer of the community. Looks like Dad has stopped crying. Hope he didn't realise I snuck back there myself. I've gotten so good that the lurks don't even know I'm there. Didn't manage to find a replacement port for Sylvia, but I did manage to pull a hard disk out of one of the large consoles in the lecture hall. Some of the data on it seems to be intact. I'm going to poke around before I reformat. Who knows, maybe something interesting in it. Score! Oh man, this is big. I managed to get part of the data off the hard disk, but it seems to be some research about reactor efficiency. Part of it was corrupt, but I might be able to find the rest somewhere else. There was a caravan passing through, so I figured I'd see what I can get for it. He said to the right person, this kind of thing might be worth several hundred caps. We agreed to a 25.75 cut if he can find a buyer. Now I just need to figure out how to get the rest of the data. Obviously that news eventually reached the Institute, and the reactor efficiency, I would imagine this maybe leads on to the mass fusion questline event for the Institute. I haven't been able to make any progress with finding the data, and the lurks have started laying eggs again. To make matters worse, Dad just got back from the council meeting and somehow found out I'd been searching the flooded area. Locked everything up and said I'm not allowed to do any scavenging. I tried to explain about the data and he listened, but then he started acting weird and told me to go to my room and not come down till he sorts things out. What is going on? What have I done? Oh god, what did I do? I've been getting mail from everyone in town saying the Institute is coming and asking if it's my fault. Someone even accused me of being a synth. Somehow they must have found out about the reactor research, but it's not even complete. Dad said that it was probably just some scammer or raider trying to trick us, but I don't know. What if it really is the Institute? I need to get back in there and find the data somehow. The mail relay, as probably everyone's sending to her, is from her dad. No more scavenging. Jacqueline, I'm serious. No more scavenging until this thing with the council blows over. I know people are scared, but I think the guy the mayor talked to is just a con man. Institute hasn't shown up in a long time. Why would they come now? I've been calming things down around town. I think I've got enough support that can block anything crazy in the vote tonight. I'm not mad at you, but I want you to stay at home and just don't stir anything up right now. Love, Dad. Peons, you stupid girl. Do you have any idea what you've done? You dumb brats think just because they haven't attacked anyone in years that it's something we all made up? Now the Institute is going to come and kill us all. Did you even think about this, you selfish little bitch? Your father says you don't have this data thereafter, but if that's the case, then we all know you're actually working for the Institute. Peons is also a wild one. There's a deleted ones. The mayor, don't leave your home. Sylvia, it's not your fault. Martha, what actually happened? R West, you synth. Not going to die for you. Oh, that was from Martha at the end there. Now we can open the door and get this tape out. We'll listen to the tape as we explore the rest here. Now you can use one of the doors, but I'm actually going to use the elevator as you start at the bottom floor here.
Sylvia, I don't care what
Except I started playing the wrong holotape. Let's play the right one. Woo!
Okay. First, I want to say I'm sorry, Dad. I knew I was onto something big, and thought I'd see what a trader would pay if I found it. I had no idea that the Institute would be after any of this. And now the whole town is in trouble. I know you told me not to worry, but I just know that the town is going to vote to throw us out, or worse. I wasn't lying when I said I didn't have the data, despite what Mr. Owens and his cronies think. That's why I have to go back in. I know the key is in there, I just need to put the pieces together. It's something with that professor. If I can find it, maybe I can give the Institute what they want, and they'll just leave us alone.
Okay, so she did have incomplete data. More on that later. Now, this door says exit, but there is definitely no exit out here. Just a broken bit of wall. Don't know whose office this was, but I'll look more into it later on. Now, before we venture into the rest of this room, I just want to hop down to here. To this room. They can be easily missed. It's a wee advanced lock door. And when you open it, there's another door, but this is a master lock. Now that gets you back in just to the entrance hall that we walked in. Stim pack, and there's an expert safe. But if we read the Dean's Terminal, we can find out a bit more about the University Relay in the pre-war era. About Professor Campbell. You said to contact you if I saw Professor Campbell doing anything strange. Well, he's been going to the Student Credit Union most evenings, which seems a little weird. Also, I saw him and Leslie Matthews going over there on Saturday on my way to basketball practice. Isn't she one of his grad students? Oh, and Sandra said he's been asking at the student records to find out Leslie's birthday. What's up with that? So, could we meet about that academic probation now? Can't reach the Colonel. Dean Patterson, I'm sorry, sir, but I wasn't able to get Colonel Rosemont on the phone for you. They kept redirecting my calls for hours, and when I finally reached them and asked him to put you on, he just said that it would save you both the time and confirm that you don't have the clearance, and hung up the phone. I tried to call back, but they said that he's not taking any more calls right now, and that if you want to speak to him, you'll need to drive out to the base. Doris. Must have been the secretary. S. Campbell. Sorry, Alan, but the deal's done. As legal has probably told you, the military tends to get a bit upset if you try to wiggle out of a contract for them. And no, I can't tell you where the lab is or what my research is about because you don't have clearance. You'll need to take it up with Colonel Rosemont. Why are you making this personal? The university's making a bunch of money and the research may be declassified eventually, in which case it would make you even more. Construction under admin. Dean Patterson, do you know exactly what the army are constructing under the admin building? They're making an awful lot of noise with those jackhammers. They told me to go through Professor Campbell for inquiries, but he said it was classified. I asked if you had authorised this, and he said to check his contract. Well, legal did, and said that it's a kind of a grey area, his lawyer added during negotiations. They also said that they tried to bring it up to you at the time, but that you went ahead and signed it anyway. Hope that grant money is worth all this hassle. Teresa Robinson, HR. S. Campbell, about my research. Alan, I'm under no illusion that the real reason you wanted to bring me on as head of department for the business contract was for my business contacts from the private sector. Just accept the grant money and let me do my research. I'm sure you'll skim some off for a new scoreboard or something equally useless. Oh, and I'm certain when you get back from your vacation and read this, you'll check my contract and find that I do have the authority to negotiate and accept grants for my department. Enjoy Maui, Professor Campbell. Then you can open the safe here. And it just has some decent items. Now, the reason you want to read that terminal is it fills in a few gaps later on when we're reading up a bit more about Professor Campbell himself. So, let's enter into this room. March our way up the stairs. Check behind all the bookcases. You never know what you might find. Caps and whatnot. Now we're up to the top level. Let's hop our way around here. We cap stash in the terminal. Before heading over and getting a wee Voltec lunchbox. Oh, sloth toy. Nice. This exit is into the part of the building that's sinking under the water. We'll be exiting, or I'll be showing you more on that later. We got a note from Jacqueline, and I'm assuming this is her. Mini Nuke and the Professor's Terminal. Let's have a read. This was Professor Campbell that you seen earlier. Now, there's a lot going on, but it all pieces together nicely. Lab time, Sea Marsh. Took me forever to figure out what you meant about Leslie's birthday. It was a good idea, but we haven't been dating that long. Had to look it up in the student records in the front office. Don't tell her that. Anyway, while I was there, I overheard the Dean Patterson has a alumni dinner this weekend. Alumni? So he should be out of your hair. See you Saturday. Curtis is another one of the helpers. Leslie Matthews now. Got you now, you snake. You think I wouldn't notice how often you visit the student credit union? I'm sure it's merely a coincidence that your grad student, Miss Matthews, is always on shift when you have to get something from your safe. You think it wouldn't reach me that you and her disappear for hours? If you don't tell me what the construction was and what your research is about, I'll be going straight to the press and the police. Be blackmail there. See Marsh about the project. Professor Campbell, I understand the need for secrecy, sir, but don't you think you get more work done if you give Leslie and I access to the research without you being there? That accident was weeks ago, and you said yourself it was due to a bad fuse. Leslie said she saw the Dean sulking around following you yesterday, and it's going to get harder to get work done if he's tailing you all the time. Colonel Rosemont sounded pretty serious about wanting the research done as soon as possible. Curtis. Regarding Rosemont, God damn it, Stuart, you aren't worming your way out of this. Colonel Rosemont, you insisted I needed clearance from as nearly as insufferable as you. When I went to see him, he claimed your research was classified and had me escorted from the base. You think you're so clever, but I know this is just one of your old army buddies helping you pull a trick. Don't think I won't be talking to our lawyers. Mr. Campbell, first of all, you do not have my permission to call me by my first name. I am the Dean here, and you would do well to remember that. Secondly, what is this I've been hearing about you and officers from the army performing unauthorized construction under the administrative building while I was on vacation? It is absolutely unacceptable. You will explain to me at once what the meaning of this is and what you're researching. Mr. Campbell, it's come to my attention that you were contacted by the army regarding your research. I am the one running this university, and I have the right to know and approve all research programs. I know your colleagues hold you in high regard when we brought you on last year. Your contract guaranteed your tenure, but you don't want to make an issue of this with me. I'm leaving this afternoon on my vacation, but when I get back in 2 weeks, I expect to be fully appraised of the research. Obviously, that's what the relay notes between the Dean and the Professor and some of his grad students. Research notes and energy. Really, Alan, you're going to go through my terminal now? I told you my research was classified. Quit being a pathetic worm and just mind your own business. Notes on the energy research. He just left that there for a bit of fun. Lecture notes. We'll go from October 11th. Corrupted, obviously. Grade vacuum tube circuit layouts and in-class review for midterms. Graduate class continue lecture from last week about sub-wavelength phenomena and plasmonic excitations. Mad pronunciation there. Discuss how these concepts may be used in the future for more optimized circuitry. Remind Curtis that he should find out when Leslie's birthday is, and she wanted to meet him at the credit union at 7. Okay, so a bit more on that. Let's read her note. Oh god, the Institute is here. I can hear them fighting outside. Dad, I figured out where the data is, but I think I'm too late. I'm sorry. So she found out how to get to the terminal, but the Institute attacked. She was so close. So very close. Anyway, you can continue to explore. Up here, unchaining the door will get you out to where we began our journey. Up and down here, you can see there's just lots of bodies of people as the Institute moved through. People ran in, probably stuck between the Institute and the Mirelurks. Not a great way to go. But now that we've found out an awful lot about that, we go to the student records, because that was where we were finding out about graduates. And then, isn't it the program? It's enrolled graduates, and we go G to M. There we go. Now you get Campbell's safe password. This all makes sense very, very soon. Now, let me just run out that back here, back to the credit union. And just before we do that, I do want to give one wee flyby. So, that's the credit union building. That's the university pharmacy. And that's the remains of the parking lot that I said I'd talk about later. The Sedgwick Hall here. That's a big water purifier outside. And if you fly right round to the back here, you can find lots of just random stuff. Obviously the hall was falling to pieces. You can get a wee safe and a wee bed area up here. More Mirelurk eggs. And that's how you get inside to the top floor. It's a potential use of the building. Then, of course, we've got liquor and chems. We've got the weapons place. And we've got the little clothing store. There's usually a random encounter out the back here near the boss. So now that we've found all that out, it's time to finish this off by going to the credit union. There's this entrance that now we've got the password. We can unlock it. You could go the front door. It looks like there was a bit of a bank robbery or something at some point. But more on that later. So, novice terminal. Let's unlock it. When I said the mayor's thing unlocked this, I actually meant it's the next terminal he unlocks inside the credit union. So now that we're inside, check all the cash registers, load of money. You can see a synth out the front, little skeleton with a pistol, and probably making their last stand actually. Maybe they were trying to leave town, they were like, give me the money and meds and I'm out of here, and a synth came in. She took the synth down, but obviously more arrived, and then that's all she wrote. Now we have Gerald's vault password. She'll open the vault for us. There we go. And then Campbell's safe password opens this, giving us this button to open this door and get us into the lab. A couple of other safes around here that you can open, just to get you some decent loot. And now we're into here. 2 sleeping bags and a sealed tunnel. And more importantly,
Yes.
the UP-77 Limitless Potential. Don't know where I got the AR-14. That's from a vault in New Vegas. I was doing a guide in the vault in New Vegas, so that's where that came from. Unlimited ammo capacity. This is a beast of a laser rifle. At least I got that part right. Lab terminal time. Research logs. Containment problems. Progress on the project has been slow so far, mostly because the Dean has been having Professor Campbell tailed to try and figure out where the lab is. Curtis brought up the idea of giving us unrestricted access to the lab, but Professor Campbell said that he needs to make sure things are established and safe first. Thus far, we've had trouble in containing the plasmon scattering from the electron beam. I've checked and rechecked the professor's calculations. They seem good, but just doesn't seem to replicate in our practicals. Improved scattering patterns. Progress has improved now that Curtis and I have access to the lab. My parents think I've gotten a job at the credit union and have been pushing to make me go into banking. If they knew Mr. Rivera is actually a sergeant undercover, they would flip. We've been having much better results with containing the plasmon since we decided to focus the electron beam down to around 200 nanometers. The scattering patterns are showing up with a much better grouping on the cathodoluminescence graph. Got it. At this scale, it may not end up being any good for reactor containment, but we might be able to improve energy consumption for small industrial or weaponry use. I can't believe Professor Campbell used my birthday as the password, or that Curtis had to look it up. So they actually were working on an energy system. They ended up making the rifle, but the rifle wasn't what they were aiming for. What's going on? I don't know what's going on out there. Curtis and I were in early on Saturday, so we could try and get a head start through the experiments in time to catch a movie when we heard the sirens. Some sort of EMP knocked out the power for a few minutes, and Sergeant Rivera told us to stay in the lab and not to leave till he gave us the all clear. But it's been going on for 3 days. We can hear explosions going off. Professor Campbell was supposed to be in around noon, but never showed up. Our friends and parents are out there. Curtis says everything will be okay, but I can see in his eyes he's just trying to keep it together. Continuing the research. Now we've been here a few weeks, according to the date in the terminal. An explosion took out the tunnel to the parking garage just after I made my last log entry. So that's where the tunnel would have led to. Obviously, when the parking garage got taken out by goodness knows what, there was a lot of fighting between military and civilians. But whatever took it out, it ended up blocking their exit. Decided to continue the research. If we're at war, it might help, and if nothing else, it will help us pass the time. I've been thinking if we adjust the angle of the parabolic reflector and focus the electron beam even further, it might get us what we need. Professor Campbell has the lab stocked with plenty of food and water, so we should be here for at least a few more weeks. Time to leave. Small scale seemed to be the right direction. We brought the wavelength down to around 75 nanometers, or nanomillimeters maybe, and have been getting a pretty impressive capture rate. Both of the prototypes were on a much higher capacity. We ran out of food a couple of days ago and only have a couple of cans of water left, so we've no choice but to leave the lab. We've no idea what we'll find out there if anyone's alive. Decided to leave one of the prototypes here in case Professor Campbell made it out, so we'd know we'd finish it. Maybe it's a futile gesture, but Curtis agreed with me. He asked me to marry him if there's anything left out there. I said yes. Well, that was kind of crazy. So they were working on a reactor efficiency, ended up making a pretty decent weapon that we can now pick up and take advantage of. And that is University Point in a nutshell, all wrapped up, the story and everything about it. When you do bring Deacon, he brings up that they were involved at the Battle of Charles River. Now, it's never explained anything beyond a little footnote of a companion mentioning it. So we don't know if it was them versus the Institute or who was involved. But University Point was a thriving settlement that would have been between the likes of Quincy and Diamond City and Good Neighbor, a really, a very booming settlement. Why you can't turn it into one? It seems to have all the makings of a little settlement, but you can't. So take advantage of what you can find here. Good weapon, magazine, the razor grain, and all of the other things. Even maybe you could just use it as a little base of operations. After all, it does have a chemistry, weapons, and armor workbench for you to use, and a cooking station. Has everything. So, hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, of course. I'm heading over to Jamaica Plain to uncover the treasure up next. Thank you for watching.